Hey, how are you doing? Where are you now? It had been a week since my husband and in-laws moved without saying a word to me. In such a situation, I received a phone call. Why do I have to tell you that? You're not smart. Why would you say that? You're really a noisy woman. I'll forgive you if you apologize. Moreover, if you do the housework, I might even give you a spare key. How about that? It's a nice proposal, isn't it? I naturally sighed at such an absurd proposal. Who do you think will do such a thing? What is someone incompetent like you talking about? Incompetent? Isn't that about yourselves? What? How dare you? I could tell my husband was talking to someone else on the phone. Huh? Oh, I see. That person was probably. Mom says she wants to talk. Before I could agree, it switched to my mother-in-law. Hello, can you hear me? Yes, I can hear you, but are you still alive? What are you talking about? Because you're jobless now, right? I'm listening carefully. You've been deceiving me, haven't you? What a disgraceful woman. My husband must have lied to his mother to maintain his dignity. Which one of us is more disgraceful? What should I do? Why are you silent? Say something. At that comment made my anger rapidly grew. Although it's rough, I decided to tell the truth to this ignorant old lady on the other end of the phone. The truth about my husband. You seem to be misunderstanding something. It's not me who was fired. Are you trying to add shame on top of shame? Isn't it you who should be embarrassed? What are you talking about? That's ridiculous. My mother-in-law seemed unable to hide her anger. I'm not joking. In fact, our comfortable life so far is thanks to me. Stop it. She was more stubborn than I thought, and it seemed she wouldn't understand. It seemed unlikely she would accept the truth as it was. At that moment, I made a decision. If that's the case, I'll divorce my incompetent, jobless husband. What? Do you really understand what you're saying? If you do that, you're the one who will suffer. Don't worry. You should be the ones worried. This is going nowhere. Before you hang up, why don't you verify that he was fired? After saying that, the call ended. About 5 minutes later, my husband called again, probably after hearing about it from his mother. However, I did not respond to the phone. From then on, they all will have to overcome even more challenges. And I waited for the right moment. Whether it worked or not, what my husband and his parents faced was not just simple hardship. My name is Anna. My siblings run a company inherited from our grandfather. My brother Peter is the president, and my sister Mandy is involved as a director. I myself manage several apartments inherited from my father. The rental income alone was enough to support myself. I met my husband, Kevin, when I was 33 years old. The connection was made through my sister, Mandy. Cess, isn't it about time you got married? Why all of a sudden? Considering your age, I think it's about time. How can I get married without having a partner first? I'll take care of that. And a week later, my sister introduced me to Kevin, a friend from her college days. My first impression of him was that of a handsome young man with a neat appearance. Being work-focused all my life, I was at a loss for what to talk about. Well, you two have fun then. What, Mandy? Wait. My sister left with a laugh. And so, the two of us were left alone. Being a friend of my sister, he was younger than me. As the elder, I felt I had to act properly. Shall we go? Yes. Both of us, holding our nervousness, went to the first restaurant we saw. We ordered alcohol and immediately emptied our glasses. That helped us start to relax. I'm sorry about tonight. Mandy was a bit presumptuous. Don't worry about it. Honestly, I was looking forward to meeting you. Really? To tell you the truth, Mandy has been talking about you. I've been hearing about you since our university days. That girl. According to Kevin, Mandy had always spoken highly of me. After spending about 2 hours together, the evening came to an end. Then, see you again. Wait a minute. If you don't mind, can we exchange contact information? Oh, right. We haven't done that yet. And so, we exchanged contact information and started to go on dates frequently. So, when are you planning to get married, sis? Not anytime soon. Really? How long have you two been seeing each other? Well, about 6 months. Then it should be fine, shouldn't it? Don't talk about it as if it's someone else's business. In fact, a week after being introduced by Mandy, Kevin confessed his feelings to me. I was surprised, but it wasn't unpleasant. And I accepted his confession. 6 months passed. Although I had a desire to get married, I hesitated to bring it up. Being older, I worried whether bringing up the topic would be too much pressure. On a certain day, while pondering these thoughts, I want to talk about something important today. Understood. Let's meet at our usual place after work. See you then. That call came during my lunch break, and I couldn't concentrate on my afternoon tasks. Naturally, that was the expected reaction. It's impossible to remain indifferent to such a conversation. That day, he proposed to me. I was somewhat prepared, but being asked to consider marriage made me question if I was the right person. So, what's your answer, Anna? I'll say yes. However, what followed wasn't straightforward. Next, we had to greet each other's families. My parents warmly accepted our marriage. Next was meeting Kevin's parents. But what should we do about greeting Kevin's family? About that. Yes, Kevin seemed somewhat downhearted, as if he didn't want to go there. There's something I need to tell you. Actually, I want to keep your job a secret. Why is that? My father doesn't mind, but my mom. According to Kevin, his mother-in-law had an unusually strong sense of pride and wouldn't accept a wife earning more than her husband. It seems that his late grandmother was also like that, and she firmly inherited that mindset. So please, I'd appreciate it if you could manage the conversation well. Kevin requested that from me. Faced with such a request, I couldn't refuse, but I was still worried. I understand keeping it a secret, but can we keep hiding it forever? I think it'll be okay. He didn't provide details at the time, but I had no choice but to trust his words. And we scheduled a visit to my in-laws' house a week later. Aren't you worried? A bit nervous, yes. I'll be by your side. And remember what we planned. Got it. When the doorbell rang, my mother-in-law greeted us. Good of you to come. Please come in. Thank you. As we were led into the living room where my father-in-law was sitting. Glad you could make it. Have a seat. Thank you. I caught a glimpse of Kevin's tension at that moment. We came to talk about something special. We're considering getting married together. Is that so? Anna, what do you do for a living? As expected, the question came. This inquiry was anticipated. According to our plan, I was to say that I work in an administrative position through a temp agency. In reality, it wasn't a complete lie, as I occasionally help out at my brother's company. That decision was made for such reasons. I'm currently working in an administrative role. I see. What do you think, Dad? If it's an administrative job, there shouldn't be a problem. Then it's okay to get married, right? Yes, I have no objections. Thank you. While exchanging conversations, I excused myself to the bathroom halfway through. And on my way back to the living room. Wait a moment. I was approached by my mother-in-law. Yes, what is it? It was the moment I had hoped to avoid. What is that? Which one? That expensive-looking item you're wearing. She was pointing at the necklace I was wearing. Oh, this is. As you'll be a wife from now on, such things are unnecessary. Take it off here. Excuse me? Shall I help you? My mother-in-law tried to forcefully remove my necklace. No, I can take it off myself. Saying so, I removed the necklace. This necklace was originally a gift from Kevin for my birthday. I tried to explain this several times, but it seemed to my mother-in-law like nothing but excuses. Also, change that outfit. Too much leg exposure. It's unpleasant. Why must I be criticized like this? As I was confused, Kevin came and asked what was happening. What's going on? It just took a bit longer. I'll be back soon. Okay, got it. My mother-in-law cut off my response. Remember what I just said. Don't forget it. I'll come by to check occasionally. Your response? Yes, I understand. I couldn't refuse. I was just exhausted from being compliant. Though I returned to the living room, I couldn't bring myself to say anything. I wanted to avoid saying anything unnecessary and being criticized again. Something happened? No, nothing. I blamed someone in my mind for how I felt, but I couldn't hold Kevin responsible. All I felt was a desire to leave this place as soon as possible. I don't remember the details of the conversation that followed. Somehow, we reached an agreement and returned to Kevin's house. First, let's start by finding a place to live together. Yes, that sounds good. We visited various properties together, but I couldn't forget the words of my mother-in-law. Before I knew it, the property was contracted in my name. At that time, I never thought this would become a big problem later on. Thus, we got married and became a couple. However, the smooth marriage life was only at the beginning. Anyway, let's keep this from my mom going forward. Can this really work out? It'll be fine. Kevin's baseless confidence only fueled my anxiety. And that anxiety became reality. As much as possible, we tried to avoid contact with my mother-in-law, but one day, a month after getting married, I came home from work to an unexpected visit from her. Mother, why are you here? Just came to see how you two are doing. But what were you doing at this late hour? I was at work. You're supposed to be in an administrative job, aren't you? Yet, you come home this late. I looked at Kevin and he gestured for me to deny it. It seemed he meant to keep this fact hidden. There was a bit of overtime today. Making excuses. You were actually out having fun, weren't you? I wasn't out having fun. Really? Mom, that's enough. But anyway, we're doing fine without any problems. With those words, my mother-in-law seemed convinced and left without further comment. I'm sorry. I didn't expect my mom to come. Maybe we should tell her the truth? It's okay. Leave it to me. But this means we're continuing with the lie. It's fine like this. Don't make me repeat myself. Was it necessary for me to be told this? Despite being newly married, my trust in Kevin began to waver. However, there was one good thing. Kevin's approach worked, and the visits from my mother-in-law stopped. At least, it was a temporary relief. Until I noticed something suspicious one day at noon. Huh? Why are Kevin's shoes here? Hesitantly, I stepped inside. At that moment, I saw Kevin lounging on the sofa, sipping on alcohol. What are you doing? Oops, surprised, he dropped the beer can he was holding onto the floor. Inna, why are you here? I came back to pick up something I forgot. What happened to work? I wasn't feeling well, so I came home early. I see, but you're drinking, so you must have recovered? Well, they say alcohol is a cure-all, but it looks like you've had quite a bit. There were already 6 empty beer cans lined up on the table. Moderation is key, right? I think drinking too much isn't good. Kevin didn't respond. I remembered the document I had forgotten and headed to the bedroom. Glancing at the living room casually, I saw Kevin, despite my caution, now drinking whiskey. Try to cut back a little. How? Aren't you running out of time? That's right. I'll hear the details when I get back. Take care. Actually, I wanted to ask in detail right there, but as Kevin said, I was running out of time. Is something bothering you? No, not really. My siblings said you seemed a bit down. Sorry, it's really nothing. Are you in any trouble, Kevin? Does it seem that way? Kind of. It's the only thing I could think of. I was at a loss for words. First, I'll focus on work. Yeah, that's probably best. After work, I met up with my siblings to talk about the recent events then. So, what's specifically bothering you? Well, actually, Don't worry, this stays between us, so feel free to open up. Thanks. I opened up to my siblings about the situation with my mother-in-law and Kevin's recent behavior. That's unexpected. What? Sorry, I can't believe it. I didn't think it was that serious. It's not your fault, Mandy. But what will you do now? Should I say something? That might make things worse. Didn't we promise to keep it a secret? Yeah, but knowing they were so considerate warmed my heart. First, I'll try to talk directly to the involved parties. That sounds right. We're here to support you whenever you need. I appreciate it, thank you. After that exchange, I returned home, but I couldn't find Kevin anywhere. All the alcohol was neatly cleaned up. Where could he have gone? I tried to contact him, but there was no response. Kevin returned the next morning. Where were you? Actually, I went to my parents' house. My mom called me over suddenly, Kevin said, laughing. What's so funny? Huh? Not answering your phone and being at your parents' house, really? Couldn't you have at least contacted me? Why would you say something like that? Why don't you ask my mom? Don't say such ridiculous things. With work looming, I hurriedly left the house. As soon as I got to work, I received a call from my mother-in-law. Yes, hello? What have you done? I'm not sure what you're referring to. I heard you doubted Kevin. Since I couldn't reach him, I was just to get so upset over such a trivial matter. You're really narrow-minded. The call continued with my mother-in-law showering me with insults. Eventually, she even called me incompetent. I couldn't bear it any longer and ended up retorting. There's no reason for me to be criticized like this. What are you talking about? So, please, stop this pointless conversation. I have work waiting for me. I immediately hung up the phone and took a deep breath. My patience paid off, and I felt a pleasant sense of release. Returning home after a day's work and feeling a sense of accomplishment, I was greeted with criticism by Kevin. I heard you said something terrible to my mom? I didn't say anything terrible. I just stated the obvious. That's not a joke. Why do you belittle people's parents like that? If you didn't act suspiciously, there wouldn't be any problem in the first place, would there? Fine. If you're going to say that, I have my own plan. Afterward, Kevin made a call as if he was enjoying something. Once the call ended, he announced, "Look forward to it." The change came 3 days later. What is this? I was utterly stunned as boxes piled up in the room. Confused and bewildered, Kevin returned with my in-laws. Seeing me, Kevin said with a laugh, "Why such a face? Didn't I tell you to look forward to it? Let's live together from now on." At that moment, everything clicked. Kevin had arranged for us to live together behind my back. That call was indicating his plan. Isn't this method too authoritarian? Why would you think that? Kevin proposed this cohabitation thinking of us. He's really considerate. But there are no available rooms. That's strange. Kevin said there were 2 empty rooms. Those 2 empty rooms were reserved for future children, not for living with my in-laws. But with their belongings already moved in, there was nothing I could do. From that day on, my life changed drastically. Is breakfast ready? We don't prepare it so early in our house. That doesn't concern us. From that day, I started waking up at 4 a.m., and that was just the beginning. Eventually, a specific event led me to vet revenge against Kevin and his family. House chores naturally fell to me, not by choice, but because they would be neglected otherwise. Feeling this situation was unsustainable, I consulted with my siblings again. What's going on? That's unbelievable. Don't worry, leave it to us. My siblings rushed from their workplace directly to our house. Their purpose was to speak directly to Kevin and his parents. Oh, Peter and Mandy too, what brings you here? We heard you've been quite freewheeling. That's not true. Really? Deciding to live together without asking and dumping all household chores on Anna? That's a misunderstanding. There might have been a slight difference in perception, but I'll resolve this issue. I'll explain to my parents. So, it's like that. Is this matter settled then? Despite relying on my siblings, I didn't want to burden them further. It's fine. All right, then we're counting on you. That day, my in-laws were out, and it's unclear how the situation would have unfolded had they been home. Really unnecessary. If you had acted properly from the start, we wouldn't be in this situation. Relying on your siblings, aren't you ashamed? As Kevin and I were arguing, my in-laws returned. Why are you talking so loudly? The whole neighborhood can hear you. Actually, Anna reported us to her siblings. Reported? She's making us out to be problematic. A wife doing such a thing. But the problem originates from you. Forcing cohabitation and dumping chores on me, right? That's natural and there's no problem at all. It seems you need to be educated. At that moment, Kevin seemed to be contemplating something. Causing more trouble would be a hassle. I've got a good idea. After he whispered something to my mother-in-law, she said, "That's a good idea. Your brothers run a company, right?" "Yes, what about it?" "What if disgraceful rumors about that company were to spread? In the worst case, the company might not survive. What are you planning to do?" "Something like this." Kevin then showed me his smartphone screen. On the screen, there were baseless allegations about my brother's company. "If you listen to us, we'll leave this information as it is. But if you pull another stunt, you're going to make this public?" "Exactly. Understand this and don't repeat such actions." It was clearly a threat. To protect my siblings' safety, I had no choice but to comply with their demands. However, Kevin's actions went beyond mere threats. One day, when my mother-in-law was absent, the truth was revealed. "You must have noticed, but I've quit my job." "Is that really a path you chose yourself?" "Why do you ask that?" "Just curious." "It's not important anyway." "Actually, I was fired." "What caused it?" "Let's not dwell on the details. There were various issues." I felt I had learned something significant from his answer. "But don't ever mention this to my parents." "Why not?" "You should understand why." "What's the plan going forward?" Kevin just fell silent. "No choice, I have to handle it. As usual." "You might have forgotten, but I'm the one paying the rent and living expenses. Just don't do anything unnecessary." Half a year passed, and I had become nothing but a servant to Kevin and his family. I could only despair about when this situation would end. That day, I had an important meeting, so I headed to my brother's workplace. The meeting lasted late into the night, and I didn't get home until after 8 p.m. As soon as I arrived, I immediately noticed something was wrong. Everything was too quiet. The moment I stepped inside, I was struck silent by the scene before me. It was evident the house was empty. Checking room by room, all our belongings were gone. I collapsed on the spot. I immediately called my siblings. "Is something wrong? I need you to come to my house right away." "Understood." "I'm on my way." 30 minutes later, my brother and sister arrived. "What in the world happened?" "Nothing's left. It seems everyone decided to move out without me knowing." "How did it come to this?" "What's that?" "Did you find something?" "Yes, something's on the table." "Really?" What my brother found seemed to be a note left by Kevin. The note read, "For us, you are no longer necessary. Hence, we've decided to move. We've taken the money in the dresser with gratitude." The money in the dresser. Rushing to check the bedroom dresser, the money I had hidden was all gone. "It's gone. Everything's been taken." About $10,000 was missing. I made a mistake. I never thought the hiding spot would be discovered. What's our next step? Faced with that question from my brother, I had no immediate answer. But my sister's remark provided a new perspective. "But why such actions? What benefit does this bring?" "What do you mean?" "This situation essentially forces a divorce, doesn't it?" "That's it." "Exactly. Huh? Thank you. Huh? Oh, sure. With Kevin and my in-laws gone, this situation turned into a significant turning point for me. Why are you so pleased? It's kind of scary. Can we talk for a bit? So I began to share my plans for the future with them. The details concern me, but if you have decided on this, Anna, I think it's fine. It's odd for me to say this since I introduced Kevin, but I want you to go ahead with all your might. At that point, I avoided contacting them directly. Considering their nature, I expected some form of communication from them. So I adopted a wait-and-see approach. A week after they left, "Hey, have you been well?" As expected, I received a call from Kevin. "Hey, how are you doing? Where are you now?" It had been a week since my husband and in-laws moved without telling me a word. In such a situation, I received a phone call. Huh? Why do I have to tell you that? You're not smart. Why would you say that? You're really a noisy woman. I'll forgive you if you apologize. Moreover, if you do the housework, I might even give you a spare key. How about that? It's a nice proposal, isn't it? I naturally sighed at such an absurd proposal. Who do you think will do such a thing? What is someone incompetent like you talking about? Incompetent? Isn't that about yourselves? What? How dare you? I could tell my husband was talking to someone else on the phone. Huh? Oh, I see. That person was probably. Mom says she wants to talk. Before I could agree, my mother-in-law started speaking. Hello, can you hear me? Yes, I can hear you, but... Are you still alive? How, what are you talking about? Because you're jobless now, right? You've been deceiving me, haven't you? What a disgraceful woman. My husband must have lied to his mother to maintain his dignity. Which one of us is more disgraceful? What should I do? Why are you silent? Say something. At that comment, my anger rapidly grew. Although it's rough, I decided to tell the truth to this ignorant old lady on the other end of the phone. The truth about my husband. You seem to be misunderstanding something. It's not me who was fired. Are you trying to add shame on top of shame? Isn't it you who should be embarrassed? What are you talking about? That's ridiculous. My mother-in-law seemed unable to hide her anger. I'm not joking. In fact, our comfortable life so far is thanks to me. Stop it. She was more stubborn than I thought, and it seemed she wouldn't understand. It seemed unlikely she would accept the truth as it was. At that moment, I made a decision. If that's the case, I'll divorce my incompetent, jobless husband. Huh? Do you really understand what you're saying? If you do that, you're the one who will suffer. Don't worry. You should be the ones worried. This is going nowhere. Before you hang up, why don't you verify that he was fired? After saying that, the call ended. About 5 minutes later, my husband called again, probably after hearing about it from his mother. However, I did not respond to the phone. From then on, they all will have to overcome even more challenges. And I waited for the right moment. Whether it worked or not, what my husband and his parents faced was not just simple hardship. A month passed, and I received another call from Kevin. Needless to say, I had been making various preparations during that month. There's nothing to talk about. Wait a minute, can't we live together? Why? Why, you ask. Let me guess. It's surely about money, right? Absolutely not. It's your own responsibility for leaving. Well, good luck. Don't say that. We're still a couple. You've heard from your mother, right? I intend to divorce you. What? Anyway, that's the situation. Don't contact me anymore. I thought it was over, but it wasn't that simple. The next day, Kevin came to my house with his parents. Back again? That's not all. I've heard everything from Kevin. And what about it? I'm truly sorry. Hey, Kevin, apologize too. I'm really sorry. Can we start over from the beginning? As if there's such a convenient story. I understand that. Still, I'm asking. How foolish. No matter how much they apologize, I have no intention of forgiving. I'm sorry, but I can't. Please leave. Now we won't be able to make a living. But you took the money from the house, right? Don't tell me you've spent it all gone due to the move and such. I could only laugh. I have something for you. Just a moment. How what? I went to the living room, picked something up, and came back to the entrance. Here, take this. What I handed to Kevin was a divorce application. This is, as you can see, it's a divorce application. There's no way this will go through. While saying that, Kevin tore it up. Do you understand what you're doing, Kevin? A divorce is out of the question. Well, that's one option. I was planning to consult a lawyer anyway. Can you leave now? The conversation isn't over. Either way, we can't live together if you keep making a scene. Let's send it here for today. Wait a minute. Urged by his parents, Kevin left. I immediately went to consult a lawyer introduced by my brother. There were still necessary steps to conclude this. I'm really grateful. Thank you. So, is there no problem anymore? No. It's safer to proceed with the divorce through a lawyer. But I have a request. If there's anything I can do, just ask. Actually, afterward, I asked my brother to help me find a new place to live. I heard one of his friends was in real estate. I quickly completed the contract for the new place and finished moving. Naturally, I didn't contact Kevin at all. There was no need to, after all. Once this situation arose, it was inevitable that Kevin would contact me. Did you go to the house? Where are you now? There's no reason for me to tell you. I had Mandy inquire about Kevin and his family's situation. They were still unemployed and living with his parents. This situation forced his parents to start looking for work, but I couldn't imagine that stubborn mother-in-law actually working. Also, I heard you still haven't found any job. Why would you? I won't say. What? Also, tell your mother to keep at it. Well, goodbye. Kevin and his family were facing even more challenging times ahead. As for myself, I was enjoying a free life in my new home. Moreover, our family has grown. I started keeping a chihuahua, something I've longed for. For me, this small family is enough. From now on, I will spend my time